ちゃん、キロロ、朝になってほしくない。ずっと夜のままがいい。
Hey everyone, it's Mark. This is my recap for Pokémon Journeys episode 83, the Cleffa that became a star. This was the 1168th episode of the Pokemon anime, and the first one in 413 episodes that Ash hung out with Cynthia. The preview for the next episode is pretty notable as well, so let's not waste any time and break it all down. The episode starts in what we'd later find out is a random town in Johto where this little girl says something, and although we don't hear what she says at this moment, we'd later find out that she asked to be able to see the stars forever. Luckily for her, this random unknown is nearby, and it sets the time of day to night. Permanently. Cut to the Cerise lab where Ash and Go get filled in about the town where it's always night. Ash, always asking the important questions, asks when they eat breakfast if it's always night. As you would expect, this quickly turns into the regular, hey, let's go investigate, cue the opening theme, and we're off on another adventure. They show up in the aptly named small town in Johto, and they start their investigation. They run into this old man who just went for his morning jog, and Grookey was just excited to mimic the statue like Sudowoodo. They ask about the never-ending night stuff, but eventually Go sees a Murkrow and catches it, because, well, why not? The old man leaves, and Grookey uses its plant healing ability to help some flowers that were dying from the lack of sunlight, which reminds me of the fact that Grookey has still yet to use an actual move. I'd love to see any sort of Grookey development as soon as possible, but let's not get too off topic here. After a shooting star briefly passes by overhead, the boys just start staring at the stars, which prompts the same little girl from the start of the episode to show up. She introduces herself as Kirara, yeah, that's a mouthful. Anyways, after Ash and Go introduce themselves and their Pokemon, Kirara has some flashbacks about this Cleffa that she was pretty close with. She tells the boys that this Cleffa turned into a star, and she loves looking up at the stars because she thinks Cleffa is one of them. Her mother shows up, and she fills us in that this cute little Cleffa died recently, but she told Kirara that it turned into a star to soften the blow. I guess that's kind of like when parents lie to their kids about what happens when a family pet dies. Not sure I agree with that parenting tactic, but anyways, her mother also says that this strange Pokemon appeared at the same time that the endless night started. When they ask Kirara about this strange Pokemon that she saw, she explains that it had a big eye and was black and shaped like a stick. Now, obviously, we knew that it was unknown, but still, it was a little surprising to me that Ash and Go were totally clueless about this, particularly Go, but I suppose he did connect the dots a little later, so fair enough. After Go discovers what Pokemon he thinks is behind this, they run to a nearby archaeology museum where Pikachu is somehow able to smell Cynthia, so he immediately jumps into her arms. A little bit of a weird way for Cynthia to make her return, but I mean, technically her big return was in that epic moment after Ash's match against Volkner, so there was not any need for a big reveal here. She asks Ash about the World Coronation series, and Ash says he'll meet up with her in the Masters 8 someday, which Cynthia is looking forward to. Some of the other randos at the museum are fangirling over Cynthia, which was interesting to me since she's Sinnoh's champion, not Johto's, but I guess champions are world famous. Well, unless you're Ash. Back to the situation at hand, Go reveals that he thinks Unown is the Pokemon behind this mess, and they tell Cynthia all of the information that they know so far. Her hypothesis is that the Unown used their power to make Kirara's wish come true, and this next portion of the episode is mostly a retread of Spell of the Unknown Entei. In that movie, for those who haven't seen it, this little girl named Molly Hale loses her mother, and basically she wishes for her mother back, so the Unknown summoned this illusion Entei and used it to kidnap Ash's mom. This was unintentionally sinister despite being an innocent little girl. Back to this episode, they meet up with today's version of Molly Hale and share donuts with her. Cynthia, I guess because she's more mature and empathetic, is pretty quickly able to realize the kind of emotions that Kirara must be experiencing. Ash and Go, on the other hand, just keep asking her about Unown, and this time we get the full flashback of when they created the permanent nighttime, and yeah, of course, the 5 random Unown that were just so happened to be there spell out night. I guess this is at least a cool Easter egg considering that Unown spell out English letters, so non-English speakers may not have noticed this right away. Anyways, Ash and Go are pleading with her to help them fix the forever nighttime issue, but again, Cynthia has a lot more concern and worry about the whole situation. You can tell by her expression. I already showed you what happened next. This was my favorite part of the episode when this little girl turns heel and summons the Unown to help her keep it nighttime forever. I mean, I don't think she meant to summon the Unown, but for some reason they are doing everything in their power to help this little girl's wish come true. Sounds pretty familiar. And just like those Unown summoned an illusion Entei, these Unown summon their own powerful illusions, this time in the form of Ash, Go, and Cynthia's Pokemon. Pikachu vs. Pikachu is a stalemate, as is Cinderace vs. Cinderace, but things get interesting once Sinnoh's champion decides to send out her ace, Garchomp. I was a little surprised to see it using Scale Shot, first time that move has been used in the anime, as it can only be learned in the games from the move tutor on the Isle of Armor. Cynthia starts to gain the upper hand when she calls for Sandstorm, which allows them to rain down Scale Shot from above, winning the battle. Afterwards, our heroes confront this evil supervillain. Okay, really, it's just a sad little girl, and she's actually pretty apologetic about the whole thing. Somehow this experience has changed her attitude pretty quickly. She is now at the point where she's accepted that her Cleffa is gone, and she doesn't need to think about it all the time or stare at the stars anymore. She does wish that she got to see Cleffa one more time, and the Unown step in once again to grant her wish. And now we go from a Spell of the Unknown Entei throwback to an episode 263 throwback, as the Unown display all of these memories that Kirara shared with Cleffa, which is exactly what happened back when Larvitar encountered an Unown back in the original series, and we got to see its memories relived as well. Back to this episode, and it looks like the day is saved, and Ash hits us with some hokey line about how Cleffa will always be her friend, and Cynthia says that the stars are always out there even when you can't see them, so Cleffa will always be there. As for the Unown, well, they disappear without a trace, and wow, the daylight being back really makes me appreciate the Journey's art style. I mean, it's cool when it's dark as well, but I prefer it when there's more light. Oh yeah, and we actually do see an Unown teleporting away. A job well done, I guess. That's one way to end an episode. I'm giving this episode a 6.5 out of 10 rating. For an episode that featured Cynthia returning, I don't actually think this episode was that exciting. I definitely liked it, but I mean, it was far from the best episode ever or anything like that. It was just a solid episode. My guess is that your enjoyment of the episode really hinges on how invested you were in this emotional tale about losing a loved one. It's a little weird to me that Pokemon now brings up death as much as it does, but it does allow them to tell some different and unique stories, like this one. Well, I say different and unique, but like I already mentioned, this was partially just a retread of Spell of the Unknown Entei, so I guess it wasn't that unique. Still though, Kirara's story was a more mature one than the anime is used to telling, and I actually liked this tweet that I saw about how she basically went through the 5 stages of grief, which is pretty impressive in just one episode. I thought Cynthia's involvement in the episode was pretty unnecessary, I guess you could say, but like I mentioned with the previous episode, I like how they are including some of the Masters 8 into the show before the big final tournament, so it doesn't have to be the most must-see, exciting content we've ever seen. It's just a good way of exploring more of their character to make their future battles mean more. That's good storytelling. Another reference that you could possibly squeeze into this episode could be Cynthia's involvement in the Sinjo Ruins event in Heart Gold and Soul Silver. There's not that strong of a link here, but at the very least, both include Cynthia being in Johto and Unown being present. Well, were the Sinjo Ruins confirmed to be in Johto? Whatever, this is besides the point. Let's just move on to the next episode, and oh boy, it looks like a big one. Okay, so Karina's back. It looks like Ash and Go are traveling with her and Gherkin in order to earn the right to Mega Evolve Ash's Lucario. It looks like the story here will be very similar to how Karina earned her right to Mega Evolution, with an epic trek culminating in Ash and Lucario having to win a battle, although this time it will be against a Mega Alakazam, not a regular Blaziken. But come on, we all know Ash is going to win anyways. The thing I am most curious about in this episode is what causes all of this. I really hope there's a good reason why Ash suddenly, out of nowhere, wants to use Mega Evolution. He's gone 2.5 series without showing much interest at all in using Mega Evolution, so why now? I really hope that question gets answered next week. Not next week. Once again, again, the anime is off on a 1-week break, so we'll have to wait for Ash's Mega Lucario. In the meantime, I did post a video this past week. It was a music quiz from the Pokemon video game, so be sure to try your luck at that one. Link in the description and in the top right of your screen right now. Additionally, the dubbed version of Pokemon Secrets of the Jungle dropped today, so after I watched that, I plan on putting out a review of it in this coming week. You can join me over on my Discord server to check up on my progress on that. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and be sure to hit like and subscribe to my channel, and let me know what you thought about this episode down in the comments. I'll see you guys next time.